Hello everyone, this is Mr. Mitchell. Today we're going to be talking about types of slope. When we talk about slope, just as a warm-up, the idea being a slope of a mountain or something like that. Anytime you think of a slope, you always think of something that's slanted or diagonal. And the fact is, that's only two of the four types of slope. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at all four types of slope really quickly, and we're going to talk about what makes each type of slope the way that it is. So the way that I like to do this is I like to tell a story, and sometimes stories don't have happy endings, so we'll just start with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a kid whose name is Josephus. And on this particular day, Josephus decided that he was going to go skateboarding. So, Josephus decided to go skateboarding, and he'd heard about this fantastic skateboarding trail, or whatever they're called. And it was at the top of this hill, and if you followed the trail, it was just an amazing ride. Unfortunately, Josephus doesn't have a car, so he has to actually use his skateboard to get to the top of this amazing hill. So here's our hill going upward, and here's Josephus on his skateboard. And you guys have to be amazed at my fantastic art skills. This is just top of the line stuff right here. So Josephus, and we're going to give him a little bit of a mohawk or some kind of spiky hairdo. Josephus is going upward on this hill. He's riding his skateboard up, and this is what we call a positive slope. So you can think of positive slopes as going up the hill. You're moving up, and any time you think about going up, that's usually a positive thing. If you're getting more money, that's a good thing. If you're getting more candy on Halloween, that's a good thing. Anything where you're going upward when we talk about slope is a positive slope. One thing that you need to keep in mind, just as a side note, is when we're dealing with slope, just like when we read a book, we always go from left to right. So as we go from left to right in an upward direction, that's a positive slope. So Josephus is skateboarding up to the top of this hill. Unfortunately for Josephus, this hill is a lot taller than he thought it would be. But at some point, eventually, he gets to the top of the hill. Unfortunately, because it did take him so long, he's now exhausted. And here he is, he's at the top of his hill. He's got kind of no expression anymore. He's not too happy, although it kind of looks like he is right there. And let's give him his mohawk. There we go. So there's Josephus at the top of the hill. And the top of the hill, there is absolutely no slope. It's completely flat. And in fact, that is an actual type of slope. We call it no slope. The other term that we can use for this is also zero slope. So you need to know both of those, no slope and zero slope. Now, even though I said that there are two terms, it's still only one kind of slope, so we've only covered two so far. So Josephus started in the morning, skateboarded up this amazing hill that he'd heard about, got to the top and decided to take a rest because it was perfectly flat, he didn't have to worry about anything, and now he's ready to go. So he gets started, and he starts going down this hill that is just super steep and way harder than he thought it would be. So here we have, let's put him on here. There he is on his skateboard. And he's flying down the slope now. And we're going to draw his mohawk flying behind him now because he's going super fast. And here we have Josephus, and he's not super excited anymore. Now he's kind of nervous. He's getting scared. He is now traveling on what we would call a negative slope. And this is our third type of slope, a negative slope. Okay, so when we look at slopes, if we are going down to the right, remember we read left to right just like on a book, if our slope is going down to the right, as it is here, down to the right, then that is a negative slope. So our last kind of slope, we've covered pretty much every kind of line. There's really only one thing that we haven't done yet, and that's what we're going to do right now, and that is a perfectly, if I were drawing this perfectly, a perfectly straight up and down line. And in this case, since we are continuing our story, unfortunately, Josephus did not know that at the bottom of this hill there was a cliff, and unfortunately for him, he also did not remember how to stop himself. So as he got closer, he couldn't stop, and oh no, Josephus! There he goes. He is now falling. Ah! His hair is flying up in front of his face. It's a very sad day for Josephus. And I just made him smiling. I'm not sure why I did that. But this last kind of slope is what we would call an undefined slope. And the reason that we call it undefined is because if you look at Josephus's skateboard, it's no longer touching anything. There is no way to describe what kind of slope this is because it's not positive. He's not moving up to the right. It's not negative. It's not moving down to the right. And it's not a zero slope, which is just moving to the right. It's not moving any direction except straight down. So we call this an undefined slope. So there we go. There are 4 different types of slope using the story of Josephus, the skateboarding mohawk wearing amazing artist, and his untimely plunge off the cliff. And if you feel bad for him, you can always draw some pillows at the bottom and say that it was actually not a cliff, that it was just, it was the little fun ending to your ride. In any case, those are the 4 types of slope. Remember that you always read from left to right. Positive slope moves up and to the right. Zero slope or no slope has no movement up or down. It's just perfectly straight across. Negative slope moves down to the right. And then an undefined slope has no movement left or right. It's just a vertical line straight up and down. Talk to you guys tomorrow.